Thanks to you for your kind invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time in Budapest, and I'm very excited about the beauty of this city. My presentation, as mentioned by Claudia, is about IRIS, the European Research Infrastructure for Heritage Science, and how IRIS contributes to collections and libraries in a digital age. So maybe I would like, as I'm the last speaker, so before lunch, I will try to shorten a little bit my presentation, but at the same time, I would like to engage a little bit with you, because otherwise it will be even longer, my presentation. So my question for you is, according to you, what is a research infrastructure? Do you have any clue what is a research infrastructure? Do you use your research infrastructures in your daily life? Please just raise your hand. Someone? So Claudia? Zita is our partner from the Iron Beam laboratory in Debrecen, so she knows very well about IRIS. Anyone else? No. So I'm going to try to explain what a research infrastructure is by starting from the infrastructures you have access in your daily life. So, for instance, you can mention it: bridges, highways, post office, hospitals. They are all the services that are used by a country and by its citizens to run smoothly and to advance. We can apply the same concept to research infrastructure. In our case, research infrastructure are the state-of-the-art set of instruments, collections, archive, and scientific data that are used by a community in order to carry out research, but also to accelerate outcomes and to translate them into real-world application. So, as we are in a library, and as we are going to move at the Hungarian National Museum, going back in time, we can consider archives, library, and collections are the oldest examples of infrastructure when they provide access. And access is really the key word for research infrastructure. And our IRIS, our research infrastructure, gives access to its services that are fully devoted to the study of the materials of cultural heritage. But the need of studying of materials of cultural heritage is due to the need of uncovering the complex historical and artistic layers hidden inside the materials of cultural heritage. And this combination between materiality and intangible meanings of cultural heritage is the essence of heritage science. This interdisciplinary field that brings together humanities, so art, history, archaeology, anthropology, together with natural sciences, biology, physics, chemistry, computer science, in order to better interpret, understand, care, safeguard, and use of our cultural heritage so that we can transmit them to the future generations. So IRIS is not a project, but it is the result of a series of successful European projects started at the early 2000s. And now IRIS is working towards its establishment in a more stable organization called ERIC. ERIC is an acronym that means European Research Infrastructure Consortium. In 2 words, it is an intergovernmental organization, and the founding members of this international organization are countries. So at this moment, the countries that are expressed the willingness to become a part of the ERIC are 11 countries. Italy as a host country, Cyprus, France, Hungary, the Netherlands, Malta, Poland, Romania, Slovenia, Spain, and the United Kingdom. So IRIS is, as you can understand, is a distributed research infrastructure, and then we provide access to different resources, facilities, digital data that are spread out all around Europe. And all these resources and facilities are provided by the countries. And by their national nodes that are composed by universities, museums, research organizations, cultural institutions, conservation centers. And all of this is centrally managed by a so-called headquarters, a central hub that is located in Florence. So, but what does IRIS do in 2 words? IRIS gives access to 140 facilities that are listed in a so-called unique catalog of services. So, for instance, scholars working in the sector of cultural heritage or practitioners, they need to address complex heritage practices or intervention. They come to IRIS and they request access to our research facilities. These research facilities are organized into 4 different access platforms. They are ArcLab, FixLab, MoLab, and DigiLab. So ArcLab means collection of samples, but also reference materials, but also previous research investigations. FixLab means large-scale facilities. You have some example here in Hungary. For instance, the Urbin laboratory in Debrecen, but also the Budapest Neutron Center. And then we have the MoLab access platform. So the MoLab access platform is composed by mobile instruments that are brought from laboratory to museums, libraries, archaeological sites in order to study fragile works of art, but also immovable artworks. And all of these analyses produce data. And this is where we are going to use data and also somehow artificial intelligence. You should consider that just last 2 weeks ago, we celebrated in Florence 20 years of access provided by the scientific facilities of IRIS. So you can imagine the amount of data, of analytical data we produce over time. And actually, we were considered as an intensive data producer research infrastructure. And this is why, in this very moment, we are working in a conceptual plan of DigiLab. DigiLab will be based on the concept of a digital twin, and the idea behind DigiLab, it will be to try to link research questions coming from scholars and practitioners working in the field of cultural heritage with the methods and the instruments provided by IRIS, the data produced, the analysis and the interpretation of this data until the generation of new knowledge. But I would like to give some two concrete examples on how IRIS uses the digital tools of the fourth industrial revolution and also the artificial intelligence. You will see here in the slide an example that's a recent example of research that has introduced a deep learning model that enhances how we analyze large and complex data sets produced by a non-invasive imaging technique known as macro X-ray fluorescence. This imaging technique is commonly used in art diagnostics and helps reveal the chemical elements present in paintings, which are crucial for understanding the materials and method used by an artist. Now, when the macro XRF scan is performed, it collects a large amount of data, spectra. We are talking about a three-dimensional data cube with a total number of pixels over the scanned area that can be on a scale of megapixels, which means millions of XRF spectra. Now, the challenge is even higher when we scan, as in our case, large works of art at high lateral resolution. We should also consider that the rules governing the XRF spectra are complex, with several non-trivial effects that depend on both the experimental conditions and on the chemical composition and structure of the sample. So to address these challenges, a research team, which is part of the Italian National Museum, incorporated machine learning strategies specifically designed for the analysis of pigments of artworks to treat this data. So they introduced a deep learning algorithm trained on a synthetic dataset that allows for fast and accurate analysis of the XRF spectra performed with the macro XRF dataset. So the research team applied the macro XRF coupled with the deep learning system to a famous painting by Raphael, conserved at the Museum of Capo di Monte in Naples, the God the Father. And the results were so groundbreaking that the research was featured on the cover of Science Advances. And this highlights how the ongoing efforts in research and development within IRIS not only drive innovation in cultural heritage, but also contribute to fundamental scientific research and technological advancements. You will see in this slide the concrete results of the application of this technique coupled with the deep learning model. And these maps provide a detailed picture of Raphael's technique, showing how he blended pigments to achieve different effects. We can even see Raphael's brush strokes. So from the analysis, it can be concluded that Raphael used a mixture of earth and green earth pigments to realize a technique called sottomodellato. Sottomodellato describes an underlayer of a painting that is intentionally left partially exposed to create depth and texture. In Raphael's case, the use of sottomodellato allows for subtle variations in tone and texture, giving the final artwork a more three-dimensional and realistic appearance. We also see how he applied the cinnabar layer, the mercury-based pigment, to create skin tones, and as well as copper-based pigments to achieve the purple velatura. The second example I would like to present is an example of analytical techniques applied in this case to the study of manuscripts. We are in a library. I would like to show how ERIS serves museums, collections, and libraries. And this second example demonstrates how analytical data provided by ERIS can be used not only for research purpose, but also to engage with a larger public. And why we decided to study manuscripts? Because usually manuscripts lack of 3D representations. They don't have information regarding structure and materials, and they don't have information on invisible elements and stratigraphy. Usually, the manuscript is not valued as an artifact with material evidence, but only as content, and it is usually difficult to communicate manuscripts in museums. This is why a project funded by European Structural Investment Fund of the region, of the Latium region, decided to perform this pilot case study on 4 different manuscripts concerned at the Angelica Library in Roma. And this project coupled the 3D digitalization of the manuscript with the material analysis performed by the platform, the MOLAB platform of ERIS. And all this information put together, they resulted in 3 different, let's say, applications. The first one is the website, where you can find the description of the project, but also a narrative glossary. And the second and the third ones, even more interesting, they are a web app 3D application in which you can interact with the 3D reconstruction of the different manuscripts, but they have also annotated with the information coming from the scientific analysis. Last but not least, they realized a holographic showcase for a museum in order to engage with the larger public. And the interesting part of the holographic showcase, it is also that there is inside it a storytelling. So they recorded an actress, and this actress is shown inside the holographic showcase, and she narrates the stories inside the manuscripts. So it's not the case that this project won the first prize in the international competition Heritage in Motion, in the virtual and extending the reality category, with the following motivation I would like to read, because according to me it's very meaningful. This innovative project has been recognized for its groundbreaking work in making fragile historical manuscripts accessible to both scientific and general audiences, embodying the essence of heritage motion through innovation and preservation. So the Heritage in Motion was funded by Europa Nostra and the European Museum Academy, and now is jointly managed by the European Museum Academy and the International Foundation Forum of Slavic Culture. So I stop here. You will find in my presentation the different references of the case studies I presented, and I conclude my speech with the slogan of ERIS, ERIS Connected Heritage to Science. Thank you for your kind attention.